Okay, I am Jessica Altman with Allison Jordan, my supervisor, and Bailey Bass, our teacher that we are doing our pre-conference. No, you're good. Thank you for meeting today. As you're pulling them up, you kind of probably already know, but I just want you to kind of lay the foundation of what are we going to be seeing? So like what objectives are you doing? What unit, kind of where you're at within the unit, beginning, middle, end, just kind of laying that framework.
Okay, so what we are working in now, and we just started this new unit this week when we got back. So this will be about, I think it says, yeah, about the third day of our new unit, but it will be the second day of us focusing on food webs. And then this will be the students' first day of getting to actually independently practice the content. So we'll be doing notes and vocabulary lessons the day before, which is today. And then, so that's what they'll be focusing on is on food webs. Our objective is based on the Teach 5.9b. So the learning objective is I can describe food webs and food chains. And then we'll be using the ELPS 3.d. So their language objective listed will be I can speak with peers about food webs and food chains. Okay. They'll be creating something individually. However, they are set in like heterogeneous grouping within the classroom seating chart already. So I will allow them to collaborate with their table groups on these.
So what is the like overall goal? Like what are you wanting them to leave this lesson with?
So the students and I will be reading the book Once Upon a Jungle, and then I would like them to be creating their own food web based on the one that's talked about in the book. So they really need to be showing the flow of energy from each level of the food web, and we'll be identifying producers, consumers, things like that.
And they're pulling the animal from the text, or they're going to choose one on their own, but use the same kind of flow.
They're going to be pulling from the text. But they will have a blank template we're going to like do on Google Drawing, and they'll pull from the text. However, to differentiate for like my English language learners or my lower students, they'll have a template with the pieces already listed out. So then they'll have to arrange it.
In that class, kind of what are the different learning needs like of their students? So I know you've talked about some of your English and short, like what is the makeup kind of? Do you have GT in there with your EVs or?
So in this class specifically, we have just a few of the EVs, and then we have one student that is dyslexic. But I don't think that I have any GT in this class specifically. My last class was a lot of GT.
Okay. So kind of how do you prepare for meeting their needs? You talked about like having that template. So how does that template differ than the other one?
So the other one is
visualize it.
The students will just have a blank template. They'll have to go through the text, pull the animals themselves, identify what level within the food web they should be. Whereas these students will have a template that already has the pieces listed. So they still have to put it in order, show the flow of energy, but they don't have to go through the text and try to pull all of the pieces.
Okay, gotcha. Just wanted to kind of visualize in my brain what that would look like. Are there any prerequisites that, and you may have talked about it this week, since it'll be your third day by then. Are there any prerequisites that they need to know in order to be successful with this, or that they should have come in with from prior grade level?
So students will need to know like what is an ecosystem. And then they also need to understand the interdependence of the components of ecosystems, both living and non-living, so that they can understand that energy is going to flow between and that ecosystems work within themselves to be successful.
Was there something that you did like either prior to break or that when you came back that let you know where they were at with those already, or?
So
right before
break, we talked about living and non-living components of an ecosystem, and I had them all do a sort with different pieces of ecosystems, so I could see if we were understanding what the difference was, how much should we understand about an ecosystem in general, and then I gave them a chance to just list different kinds of ecosystems to see if they would even, to know. Yeah.
I have something in. So I was just thinking about your prerequisites, and I just pulled out just a couple of the questions you just said. So you said you want them to know what is an ecosystem, and then what are the components of living and non-living that make ecosystems successful. So I would encourage you, and I always say this to everybody, to pre-plan the questions that you're going to ask them, because we always ask those what questions, those are naturally the questions we ask. But if you look at the T-test rubric, what's going to push you over to that accomplished category is those higher level questions. So you might think about something like giving them a picture and asking them to just, will this be a successful ecosystem? Why or why not? How do you, or let's imagine that we take this living or non-living component away. What would happen? Why do you think that? So think about pre-planning. Those are just the questions that are hard to think of on the.
Yeah, and I've been trying to utilize the DOK chart, like for question building. I don't know if I'm familiar with that. Yeah. So that's been helping me a lot. So I think that might be something I listed because like one of my teaching things to look at. But yeah, I do like that. And then I pulled some because I wanted them to do an exit ticket with just two of the questions from what their task card would be. And so like which kind of organism is missing from this one, so they'll have to see. And then how many organisms are obtaining energy directly from just producers. So I wanted them to pick out specific pieces. So I do think there's some probably already within the task cards that are asking those sort of things.
But
I
even
think
if
that'd
you
be
look at
better to
these are
start
like
with.
recall level questions. So these are great. Don't change these. But if you want to go to that next level, think about like even here, you could give a statement. There are three organisms listed that obtain energy directly from producers. This is true or false, and you know that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I like that.
So that I always think if there's an opportunity for students to justify their thinking, it's if they just have to recall information, it's a lower.
Okay. Whenever we work with our task cards, I do have them fill out, like, they don't just write A, B, or C. I have them write their answer and then give me evidence from where in your notebook, maybe you pulled this, or if it's in your brain, you don't just write brain, you write, why is it right? So I require them to have evidence within, like, in class, so that they're working, hopefully using their resources for like tests and things like that.
Yeah, right. That's great. And that way you catch those kids that are just lucky guessers.
Yes, because they want to just write this fast. They want to just write my brain. And I'm like, no.
You said that.
Yeah.
No, keep going. No. Okay, my other thought is you have EDs in your classroom. So as you're asking the students to speak with their peers, provide some sentence phrases. Either have them posted or have them practice, that ED partner first before you release them, but have some sort of accountability system for them with the language you want them to use.
Okay.
You could even, you could give a sentence frame, but you can also think about like distinct vocabulary as you're talking. You want to see you using these words in your response.
Okay.
And then my only other question is while the students are working and interacting, what are you doing? Where are you? What is your?
So I am going to have, so basically I'm gonna have some of my students that have been lower, in a small group with me, and they will be also working with a differentiated template. And then, with each other. So I'm hoping to focus in on them and then just balance also between, giving them a task, letting them work on that and getting up and checking on everybody else. So it's usually really only about 3 that I target that are working with a small group with me. They'll answer, an exit ticket question with something similar to this, but more vocabulary based. We're doing vocabulary work today. And that I'll use that data to work small group for tomorrow, but I believe it'll be the 3 that I usually focus on.
And does everyone get the same exit ticket?
Yes, I do.
Is there anything that you are, when we're in there, that you're wanting us to, maybe a goal that you've set for yourself or something you've been focusing on for this year that you want to see?
So I know that I'm open to feedback, really many aspects, and I am newer to the classroom, and, I'm really willing to try like different approaches and just improve, overall learning for the students and for myself. So I think that a lot of that is maybe creating higher order things more, and then. Yeah, so I'll be working with a small group during this lesson, so I'm interested also in my ability to like balance my attention and monitoring between both the small group and the whole group as well. And then just monitoring in general. I know in my last one, I did all right, but in my small group, she was not in the mood that day. And so I was like pulling teeth. And so I don't want to be sitting there just trying to like guide her to the thing. So maybe some balance that even too.
And don't be afraid, like I always tell people, if it is not going the way that you intend, or a student is not responding, don't try to force it.
Mhm.
Like we have all been in those
Right.
situations. And so it is okay to say, hey, you know what, we're gonna take this back to tomorrow, or I'm noticing that you're not engaged. I'm gonna give you a few minutes to run the classroom and then you can be ready. And that gives you kind of a minute to pause
Yeah.
and think, okay, what can I do to reach this student? Or to turn to us and say, what do you, what's
what
suggestion?
happened? Yeah.
We're not there just to watch. You can put us to work.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Do you have a question? Do you have questions for us?
No, I don't think I do actually. So,
Yeah.
And that you're willing to listen again.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I think that I'm open to.
We are super impressed with you. And you've done such a great job. Just
I
connecting
appreciate
with
that.
kids and jumping right in, and you are for sure the piece that's missing. The conversations we had, even the beginning of this year, the struggles that they had with just gelling as a team,
Mhm.
you have changed all of that. So I'm
Yes, I so appreciate that.
huge key to this. And we want you to keep feeling like you're finding success. So if there's an area that you're feeling like that, let us know the areas that you feel like you're struggling, and we'll support you any way we can.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When do you feel supported?
We
So
do.
we'll, time is so good tomorrow, right?
Yeah, 10 should be fine. We said
10,
10,
20,
20.
10, 20.
I think I'm good. We don't switch that close to 1.
Okay.
Because they come back to us. So I'm hoping by the time y'all get in there to be through our warm up and to be at least like starting to read the book to them so that they can start to get working on it. I'm gonna be giving them the instructions on what they're doing today, and so that I can just remind them tomorrow, so that, because I don't know how long it'll take for us to get through the book, right? Because I have some students that are gonna be excited to get a book read to them for the first time in a minute, so, yeah, it's.
Kelly used this book, was that last year when she delivered district PD?
Yeah, she said that you've seen this, the lessons, yeah. And then we have the horseshoe crabs and shorebirds the next day. We'll be working with food chains with that book, or I guess Monday.
I know.
Yeah, I know. So I'm very excited.
Like we're bringing literacy into science. Fifth grade teachers too forget that. You're still babies.
Yeah.